When the Kuru Empire was divided, the peace treaty handed to the Pandavas functioned as a carefully calculated trap, engineered specifically to ensure their failure. This is Indraprastha, the physical reality of the land they were given. It was a barren, snake-infested wasteland. King Dhritarashtra and his son Duryodhana expected this hostile environment to consume the Pandavas, forcing them into permanent obscurity. The very first illusion of this saga was political. By gifting this wasteland, the Kuru elders handed the Pandavas a death sentence, under the guise of a royal inheritance. The Pandavas survived this desertion by relying on divine guidance rather than standard political power. Through the architectural work of Vishwakarma and Mahabharata, they transformed the dust of the wasteland into Indraprastha, a city built to rival the splendor of the heavens. When Duryodhana arrives at this new capital, he enters as an invited guest, yet his reaction is that of a defeated rival. The sheer scale and brilliance of Indraprastha immediately challenged his perception of his own supremacy. By thriving in the wasteland, the Pandavas left Duryodhana in a psychological vacuum, where his former confidence was replaced by a desperate, seeking envy. The central palace of this new capital, the Mayasabha, was constructed entirely around the concept of visual deception. Mahabharata designed the floors to ripple like water, while cutting still pools to reflect light exactly like polished stone. Duryodhana wanders through this space looking for flaws to mock, but his judgment is clouded by his underlying jealousy. This emotional state makes him the perfect victim. Because he is driven by envy, he stops trusting his senses and begins to rush his steps. The Mayasabha acts as a physical mirror, reflecting and punishing the specific insecurities of the people who walk its halls. Duryodhana makes his first mistake when he perceives a solid crystal floor as a shallow stream, awkwardly gathering his royal clothes to avoid getting wet. The palace architecture continues to challenge his spatial awareness, leaving him disoriented and visibly embarrassed. To recover his dignity, he spots what he believes is a solid, dark stone floor and steps onto it with renewed arrogance. But there is no solid stone beneath him. Stepping forward, the arrogant prince plunges directly into a deep, crystal-clear pool of water. A heavy silence follows as the prince stands soaking wet in front of the royal court, and most importantly, in front of Draupadi. This physical fall turns a private insecurity into a public spectacle, marking a point of no return for the prince's pride. Draupadi's mocking laughter breaks the silence, echoing through the deceptive halls of the palace. She delivers a 5-word insult preserved in the historical record: Ande kaputra anda, the blind son of a blind man. It mocks his failure to see the pool, while attacking the lifelong blindness of his father, King Dhritarashtra. The insult changes Duryodhana's internal landscape, turning a political rivalry into a personal blood feud. The physical fall into the water was a momentary accident, but the verbal insult inflicted a permanent wound that shifted his entire focus toward revenge. Duryodhana leaves Indraprastha entirely consumed by a singular need for vengeance. He realizes he cannot defeat the Pandavas through military force or architectural beauty. To win, he must invent a new battlefield, one where he controls the illusions and sets the traps. The shame born on the floors of Indraprastha led directly to the rigged game of dice, which served as the primary catalyst for the Kurukshetra war. The Kuru Empire fractured because its leaders lost the ability to distinguish reality from the illusions of their own pride.